bit of a coach's nightmare when you're going to a friendly and you have to serious injuries like that. Unfortunately, Rhys Litterick has an Achilles rupture, and we're still waiting Charlie's knee injury.
Right. I know you said you're awaiting further results on Rhys Litterick, but how's it looking? I mean, a ruptured Achilles is a bad one, isn't it? Is that like a season-ending thing, or is it
we don't know at this stage. So obviously we'll get the surgeon's opinion first, take the necessary medical processes, and we'll decide from there.
Right.
So you sounded more optimistic on Friday night that Charlie's wasn't as serious. Has that turned out not to be the case?
Gavin, we don't know as yet. He went for his MRI at lunchtime, so we'll get those results this evening, and then we'll know what it is.
And the two Bens, Healy and Muncaster, weren't on the injured list last week, but seem to have picked up knocks. What's their kind of prognosis?
Ben Muncaster was on the injury list last week.
Not in the squad update, I think. He meant
okay. Ben will be back probably round 2. He picked up a back injury in the pre-season, and he'll be back. And Ben Healy's still struggling with the patella tendon injury that he picked up in the previous season.
Quite a few back injuries. Is that something that's of any concern?
No, not at all at this stage. When with the new players arriving, a guy like Dylan, for instance, with the training on the new surfaces that we have on the 4G, I think that irritated an old injury of his, but Dylan will be ready to train next week.
Rhys, if it does prove to be a long-term injury, is there any chance that you need to try and get some covering?
No, not at this stage. We've got young Ollie Blight-Lafferty, who has been training with the seniors. Fortunately, we've had 5 tight head props. It just means that we've got one less, but it's 4 is what most teams would have, so we're comfortable with that.
How's Ollie Blythe doing? Does he see this as a season that he can really challenge for a first team?
Yes, we're happy where Ollie is from a set piece point of view. I suppose it's how you blood him into the senior system and who he scrums with. At the same time, he's been training with the senior group, and that's for him to get accustomed to the intensity and obviously the movement that is required for him at this level. So he's going to make pleasing progress. We all know that he has potential, and it's a great opportunity for him to step up now, knowing that there's a possibility that he might get an opportunity this year. We certainly do have plans for him next year, and I'm talking about in January, February onwards for him to be part of the senior group. So we have set targets for his development, and hopefully he can achieve them, because we'd love to see him on the field.
Player by player, is that kind of the same with a few of the younger guys who you've talked about? You put a target for Ollie. Is that kind of thinking guys like?
Yes, obviously youngsters. You got to make sure that they're at the right, physical development stage of their career as well. You want them to be able to handle collisions. So there's also other areas of the game that they need to grow as well. But if you play them with the right combination, it can work for you. And they can take a lot of confidence out of that. So we've got certain processes in place that we want to use to get these guys onto the field.
Just while we're on that, to hold the horse, but the Premiership, you've had a few academy boys potentially the last couple of weeks.
Yes.
How's that gone from your perspective? Is that something you can?
Yes, so obviously the academy boys are the future of Scotland rugby, so we keep an eye on them. There's quite a lot of those boys playing on Friday night as well. If you look at a guy like Jamie Stewart, he's got a lot of potential. Christian Lindsay did so well on Friday night, and then you'd never say he's an 18-year-old amongst the seniors. So it is going to be an emphasis on us to involve them in the 18 games, and what we don't want is senior players taking their place in these 18 games. We want to push these guys through, but we also have to do it in the right way and make sure that they're at the right stage of their development.
When did you get some games apart from one play? When did you play cricket?
We've obviously got a lot of the youngsters playing this weekend against Doncaster on Friday night in the first game. There's another friendly that we'll be playing the following week against Doncaster, and that is away. And then there's another 18 game at the end of this block, which is round 5 against Glasgow.
Just going back to the Premiership, in terms of the rugby they're getting, do you see the value in that in terms of just playing competitive games?
I think one thing that happens here is that where in other countries that they have age group rugby at provincial level, we've got club rugby, and any rugby rugby that these guys play, you know, is an opportunity for them to grow, and that's why we enjoy them playing on a Saturday afternoon for their clubs.
I think what you're saying, Sean, is that for Friday night you've got these two games. Is it likely that the academy players will be mostly involved in the first game and then you'll be looking for the second game to kind of get
Yes, that is the case. There's also some guys that we'd like to give more time to on the field. So instead of them getting 20 minutes in the second game, we'd rather them get 60 in the first game. So there will be, I think there's 3 or 4 of those guys that will double up. So they would play maybe a half for the first game and then come on for 20 minutes in the second game. So we just jumble it around, but it's only 4 or 5 players that will do that.
You got enough in the squad, fit guys in the squad. You have to bring in some of the other kind of pony boys or whatever they're called. You know, or is it the senior academy and the senior squad enough to do it?
Yes, so that we do have enough. Fortunately, we don't have to borrow from other clubs like we have had to do with our 18 games in the past. So yeah, our depth in the squad has improved to such an extent that we don't have to do that. Just a couple of the boys picked up some niggles on the weekend at club rugby. Jack Utterson, was concussed on the weekend, so unfortunately he won't be available. But we do have other guys that can step in for him. And then we do have, as you would have seen on Friday night, we do have Matt Davidson that's joined us from the Sevens, and he'll be with us, hopefully until mid-October. He's the only one at the moment.
Just trying to see Pierre's out there. Is he likely to be involved at the weekend?
Pierre and Darcy won't be involved this weekend, but we're hoping that they're up for selection next week.
Any word from Razzie as to whether you get going back yet?
No, we haven't had any news from South Africa. I'm sure they're still celebrating their win. I know that they do pick different squads for the different legs of the rugby championship. I'm quite sure that Bourne will be in their plans for the next 2 games, whether he starts or not.
So you mentioned Darcy there. Is it looking a bit more encouraging in terms of being the first URC match? I think
So our target was to get him back on the field for the first URC game.
Yeah.
We weren't going to rush things if he wasn't 100%.
Yeah.
But he's coming through rather quickly now, and he'll be joining parts of our training on Thursday.
Good. Thanks.
Appreciate you announcing it to Wednesday.